Hello. So I wanted to do a very quick Q&A around anxiety. In my Love Your Life program, I have kind of the odd time I go in and I ask people to ask me questions and I kind of answer them. So one of the questions was, am I always destined to be anxious? And because it kind of rings true for me as something I've experienced as well, I wanted to address it. Hey Emma. So the thing is, anxiety is a really interesting one because it is a false sense of control. A lot of us learn to be anxious early on in our childhoods as ways to manage things that are outside our control. And we kind of bring this forward into all our life skills later on. So you could be anxious about a game you might win or lose as a kid, and then this becomes a coping strategy you continue to use. Even though you're kind of powerless to the situation, it gives you a sense of control over it. So yes, you are destined to be anxious if you continue the behavior, and no, you're not destined to be anxious if you don't continue the behavior. Um, Anxiety really is about external control, and about you projecting your fears and insecurities out into the world and trying to fix them from there rather than fixing them from within. And fixing the fact that you're fearful that maybe this isn't in your control. Maybe you need support. Maybe there's something about you that is bringing anxiety into your life because it feels more comfortable than calm and peace. And believe me, a lot of people who don't like vulnerability will avoid happiness. They'll avoid joy. They'll avoid good things because they're frightened that it'll be taken away. So anxiety really is about you trying to control something that probably is outside of your control, instead of you focusing on what you can control and what is within your control, which is less anxiety inducing because you can take action about those things. The things that are outside of your control, you can't take action about, so you overthink, you become anxious and you drive it. If you're anxious on a regular basis, then it's a sign that your coping strategy is probably to use anxiety instead of managing your anxiety. So what I mean by that is, and bear with me when I use terms because sometimes I do speak in babble, it's where you get anxious and you go outside yourself to control it. So you try and get someone to stop doing something or to do something differently, or you wish something was different. To manage anxiety is to accept where you're really at, to accept why you're going into this style of thinking, and then for you to make a choice about how you want to move forward. Now, in one of the blog posts I wrote, there is a link to how you can change the way you're thinking and understand it more, and that can be helpful. But the number one tip I would have, if you find that you're anxious a lot and that it doesn't matter what area of your life you go into, you become anxious, then you really need to stop and take stock of your coping strategy for stress and for life. And if it's to be in control all the time, you're going to have high anxiety levels. And just be really compassionate, because know that if you're using anxiety to manage life, it's probably a really big sign that your trust was broken early on in life somewhere, and that you became somewhat self-reliant and believe that you have control over more things than you do. And so you become anxious more than most people because you feel like you need to do something all the time to control the outcomes. So anxiety is a really good sign that there's something in you wanting more, but that you're using old coping strategies to get it. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about anxiety, pop me a quick tweet at Sheila Walsh1, SILEWALSH1, and I'd love to answer or have a conversation about it. You can also hashtag Love Your Life Now, and I'll come back to you and we can have a chat about how we can make anxiety something that we manage rather than something that motivates or directs us. Because an anxious life is not a calm life. It is not a life you love. It is a life you struggle with. And there's no need to struggle a day longer. So I hope that was helpful. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.